If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast, and it is, of course, presented by the number one rated sportsbook app in America, the DraftKings Sportsbook app, which once again, by the way, is how you can get one of the two remaining Madden codes I am giving out. Just get the DraftKings Sportsbook app on your phone, no matter where you live. Put the promo code Ross in, no matter where you live. Deposit if you're able to deposit wherever you live. Send me that screenshot. You are eligible to get one of the two remaining Madden codes. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years, a bunch of podcasts like the Power Rankings I do today on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, College Draft, Fantasy Feast. But this has quickly become one of my favorite, the Even Money Podcast, because I like giving out advice that works. I like giving out picks that win. And Steve and I both had another winning week, and so did our best bets. He's Steve Fezzik. You got to check him out on Twitter at Fezzik Sports. He's the only two-time winner of the Super Bowl of professional football gambling. It's the Super Contest at the Westgate Casino. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL on all the social platforms. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. As a reminder, you can check out all of our shows now, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, so you can see and not just hear the conviction in me and Steve's eyes and faces when we make some of our picks. Steve, it was another winning week for us. You ready to dive into it?
Let's do it.
All right. Thursday night football was the Dolphins and the Jags. As a reminder, the recap, because we want to make sure you can keep us honest, and we're going to do the same. Plus, you learn what worked, what didn't work for moving forward. The recap is presented by the aforementioned DraftKings Sportsbook app. That's where we get the lines. The Dolphins were getting 3 points. They won the game outright, 31-13. That was one unit for me. You just leaned that way, Steve. We had nothing on Patriots Raiders. You leaned Patriots. I leaned Raiders. Nothing at all on Rams. Oh, I take that back. Rams Bills was one leg of our two-team teaser. That was a best bet for us. We teased the Rams from 2.5 up to 8.5. We teased the Vikings up from 2.5 to 8.5. I got to tell you, Steve, we won it. I put 1 unit on that. You put 2 units on that two-team teaser. That was a roller coaster, Steve, with the Rams. I mean, I was so mad that the Rams had just laid an egg coming to the East Coast twice in a row. I thought, I was sitting there thinking, Steve, I'm never doing a teaser again. This is stupid. You have to count on both teams. I'm never doing it again. Then when the Rams came all the way back and had the lead and the Vikings had the lead, I was saying, this is stupid. I knew I liked the Rams getting the points. I knew I liked the Vikings getting the points. That teasers aren't my thing. I'm a guy that takes underdogs I think can win. I should have just done that. Then the Rams blew it again and the Vikings blew it again, and I was very happy that we did the two-team teaser.
Yeah, there's nothing like taking a +2 up to a +8, especially in the NFL where seemingly no one can stop anyone and the back door is wide open. The Rams should never have gotten down 28-3. A little unlucky, -2 in turnovers. Rams are actually playing very well.
Yeah, they certainly are. Texans, Steelers was just a lean to the Texans for me. Our next best bet, Giants, Niners. Giants were laying 4.5 points. I put 1 unit on it. You put 2 units on it. Well, I got to be honest, I'm shocked. I'm shocked the Giants got that obliterated at home by the Niners JV team.
Yeah, and I'm going to start paying a little less attention to all these injury reports, and just hats off to San Francisco. Creative play calling, misdirection plays. It sure looked like it didn't matter who was running the offense and who was on the field. It was a complete coaching mismatch. 49ers roll.
Then we've got Vikings Titans. We already talked about that. That was the second leg of our two-team teaser that cashed for us. Washington was getting 7 points on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, we record this show Tuesday at noon, right? So the lines obviously move. Usually it moves in our favor, by the way. But the lines obviously move, but that's when we do it. Tuesday at noon, almost as soon as you can get it after all the games have been played from the week before. We went head-to-head, Steve. I put 1 unit on Washington getting the 7 points. You put 2 units on the Browns laying the 7 points. And I'm going to give you permission right now, Steve. I told Brian this the other day. The next time I try to put any points or any units on Dwayne Haskins, please tell me to stop. Please tell me not to do it. Please punch me in my virtual face. He was terrible. I mean, 3 picks that were bad, an awful fumble. Steve, if he's anything other than awful, Washington covers that game.
Yeah, Washington football team playing very well. And as soon as they get a quarterback, this is a team we want to bet on. Until then, we want no part of this team.
Bengals, Eagles. I took the 6.5 points with the Bengals. That line, I think on DraftKings Sportsbook app, got all the way down to 4.5. So good value getting the Bengals 6.5. That game tied, so that 1 unit came through for me. Then my least favorite game of the week, Bears, Falcons. I laid the 3.5 points with the Falcons. Steve, that was number 1 before Julio Jones. I thought he was going to play. And then number 2, before A.J. Terrell, their starting corner and first-round pick, got COVID on Saturday. Before we get into the game, okay. And then number 3, before I knew that the Bears would bench Trubisky, go with Foles, which changed everything. I mean, that bet looked so good, laying the 3.5, 26-10 in the fourth quarter. So I feel like there's a lot of lessons there. Is there an injury report lesson with Julio Jones? Is there a lesson about possible COVID things like A.J. Terrell? And then is there a lesson about teams that can easily bench their quarterback? Because there is 0% chance my 2-unit bet loses if they keep Trubisky in the game.
The number 1 lesson I would give, basic betting strategy early in the week, never lay 3.5. Never lay 7.5. Why? Asymmetric risk. Who cares if the line goes up from 3.5 to 4.5? Who cares if it goes from -7.5 to -8.5? It's not going to land 4. It's not going to land 8. Okay, it could, but it's unlikely. But if the line drops from 3.5 down, if it drops from 7.5 down, you never, ever want to be laying that extra lumber on that 3.5. So because of the asymmetric risk, as a pro bet, I can tell you the only time I ever lay 3.5 is when I'm 100% certain the line's going up or the game is about to kick off and I know I'm not going to get -3.
Jets, Colts, we had nothing. Panthers, Chargers was our third and final best bet. We both like the Panthers getting 7 points on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and they came through, man. They won the game outright. That was nice for both of us. We needed that. Lions, Cardinals, I laid the 5.5, 2 units with the Cardinals. They lost the game outright. Kyler Murray decided to make a bunch of really dumb throws. He was forcing the ball out. I mean, he threw 3 picks. Could have been more. I mean, against the Lions defense that had been horrendous for 5 consecutive quarters. Bears fourth quarter against the Packers. Boy, that was disappointing. Kyler disappointed me. We also went head-to-head in the Bucks-Broncos, Steve. Bucks were laying 6 points. You put 2 units on the Broncos. I put 1 unit on the Bucks. The Broncos are a very, very bad football team. I'm going to assume that you're not going to do that again.
Yeah, Broncos struggling, and I tell you who's not struggling, the Tampa Bay defense, which is looking like one of easily a top 5 D in the league. Who would have thought of Tom Brady? He's becoming a contender because of his defense.
It is pretty unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, it's a huge reason why they're going to be good the rest of the year. Their defense is very, very good. Let's get to Cowboys Seahawks. You just leaned Cowboys. We had nothing there. Packers Saints. Now, truth be told, Steve, we are all about going ahead and transparency. I probably would not have bet this if I knew Devontae Adams wasn't going to play when we recorded this last Tuesday at noon. I did not know that, but he didn't. Whatever we say on this show is what it is. That 2-unit bet ended up coming through for us, for me at least. That was lucky on some level, and that's how I ended up being up 2 for the week. You were up 2 for the week as well, and we were 2-1 on our best bet, Steve.
Yeah, one thought on Aaron Rodgers. He has been an inaccurate quarterback the last 2 years by next-gen stats in terms of completion, expectation versus actual. Aaron Rodgers is ranked 27th and 28th in the league. Horrible. This year, he ranks 7th in QBR. Andrew Rodgers has gone from an average quarterback to the number 1 quarterback. He clearly, absolutely has this as a let's just say he's fully focused this year and playing great.
Yeah, there's no question. For the year to date, through 3 weeks, I am up 9 units. Steve, back to even Steven after being up 2 units this week. Our best bets, we are 5-3. So both the best bets and me making money for you guys so far. Let's get it going on week 4.
All right, guys. Week 4 starts off with Thursday Night Football. The Denver Broncos, who are laying 2.5 points at the New York Jets. Ross, the total is 40.
Right. So I'm calling this game for Westwood 1. This will be an interesting game. I just feel like, as of when we're recording this, I don't even know who the starting quarterback will be for the Broncos. It's not going to be Bortles. It'll be either Jeff Driscoll or Brett Rippon. I'm not touching a game where I don't know who the starting quarterback will be. I will put 1 unit, though, on the total at 40. I know that's pretty low, but both these teams are really struggling to score points right now. 1 unit under the 40 points.
I guess we're going to just miss a best bet here because I like the first half under better. I think both teams are going to be ultra conservative to start this game. So we're on the same page. I'm going to go 2 units first half, though, under 20 because I don't want to pick 6 in the fourth quarter by one of these horrible quarterbacks to cost me my bet.
Steve, on to the Sunday games. We will start with the Chicago Bears. They're hosting the Colts. Colts laying 2.5 points, and the total is 45.
Yeah, interesting game. The Bears get the big comeback with Foles. This Colts team is absolutely a complete team and a team I don't want to go against. But the Bears going to have some mojo from the comeback wins. I passed the game.
So I'm going to tease the Bears up to 8.5. And I'm going to tease the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down to +1.5. Or I'm sorry, -1.5. So the Bucs are 7.5-point favorites over the Chargers. I'll tease that down to -1.5 for the Bucs, and I'll tease the Bears up to 8.5. I think with Foles in there, I don't picture them losing by double digits. I think they'll be able to hang. So that's a 2-unit, 2-team teaser. It worked out for me last week. I'm going to give another try this week. Bears are first leg of that 2-unit teaser up to 8.5.
Next game, Ross, it's the New Orleans Saints. They're laying 4 points at the Detroit Lions with a total of 54.
I got to pass this game. Not really sure who either one of these teams is right now. The Lions have kind of been up and down. The Saints defense, I don't know what's happened with them. I don't like the line at 4. I guess if I had to go somewhere, I would take the Lions and the points, but this is a stay away for me.
I'll take the Lions for 1 unit plus the 4, and it's all about dink and dunk. Drew Brees, his stats not good. Now, he has never been a guy recently that's thrown the ball down the field but his numbers are shockingly short in terms of how far he is targeting. He is below 5 yards per play in air yards attempted. Now, to put that in perspective, the last 2 years, the lowest number in the NFL was above 6. So Drew Brees is at a historic low level in terms of how far he's targeting down the field. Now, maybe Kamara will keep breaking 9 tackles every other play and bail him out. I don't see that as being feasible. I'm on Detroit, 1 unit +4.
Steve, how about the Arizona Cardinals laying 3.5 at the Carolina Panthers? Total is 52.
I'm going to lean to Carolina. You know, my power ratings only make this 2.5. Carolina is certainly playing very well on offense, but I have to worry about a team that gets a big upset the week before, and oftentimes they come crashing back to reality the next week. So I'll lean to Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the 3.5. You kind of gave me that advice earlier, Steve. I would probably lean to laying the points with the Cardinals. I think after that 3 interception performance that Kyler Murray is going to bounce back. But the Panthers have a bunch of young guys playing well. This is another game that I'm going to have to pass.
Ross, Jacksonville at Cincinnati, and the Jags are getting 3 points with a total of 47.5.
Little surprised by that. I know the Jags had a bad Thursday night game, but they've had extra time to prepare now, extra time to rest, to bounce back from the Thursday night game. Bengals just played an overtime game that went the full amount of time. Joe Burrow is getting slaughtered back there behind that bad offensive line. I'll put 2 units on the Jags getting the 3 points.
I will take the Jags plus the 3 for 1 unit as well, Ross. I think you bring up a great point. You've got a team with 10 days off that just underperformed and a team that just played 5 quarters. And so certainly we'd expect the Jags to be the fresher team. Jacksonville, best bet.
The best bet.
Let's move over to Dallas, Steve. The Cowboys hosting the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland getting 4.5 points. Over under in this one, 55.
You know, I want to go Cleveland. I lean Cleveland, but I can't get past the fact that the Washington football team gave the Browns the win last week. The Browns really were unimpressive. My power ratings lean to the Browns. 2 teams I think I want to bet against, and they're playing each other. I'll pass.
Yeah, 4.5. I'm a little surprised by this line. I mean, the Browns have scored over 30 points 2 weeks in a row. Their head coach knows what he's doing. They had a 4th and 7, Steve, from like the 41-yard line, I want to say. He went for it. And they got it. You know, like I think he realized we'll probably punt it in the end zone. It's a 20-yard net gain. I might as well go for it. And they got it. They finally have a good coach in Stefanski. I'll take the Browns getting those 4.5 points. Cowboys, their defense stinks, and they've got major issues on the offensive line right now. So I'm going to take the Browns. I'll put 2 units on them, getting the 4.5 points.
Ross, our next game was I'm using that as the past tense, was supposed to be Minnesota at Houston, but with the COVID, call it an outbreak, COVID news from the Vikings and the Tennessee Titans, we're going to skip Minnesota, Houston, and we're going to move to Seattle and Miami, where the Seahawks are laying 6.5 points at the Dolphins, 54 the total.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson is a machine right now. He's playing awesome, but I can't do it. I mean, I can't lay that many points with against Fitzpatrick and the Dolphins. It's just he's too good at the backdoor cover. I just can't. I can see him finding a way to get it done at the end, even if they're down by 13 points or whatever. So this is a pass for me.
Yeah, Seattle has become a contender. Why? Because they're finally throwing the ball like they should. 2 years ago, Seattle was number 1 in the NFL in running percentage, 52%. This year, Seattle's only running 40%. That's bad news for defenses because Russell Wilson is so good. And you see with Metcalf and Lockett, 2 legit wide receivers. But Ross brings up a great point. Fitzmagic with an epic post-game interview. If you missed it, go back and look at it. You have to love Fitzmagic and his karma right now. I pass.
Steve, the Chargers, another team from the West Coast going east. Chargers are getting 7.5 points as they go to Tampa, total 45.
So you don't want to be laying points with the Chargers, but you certainly want to look to take points with this team that seems to always play close games. Tampa's defense playing very well. I think this has a 20-17, 23-20 type of game written all over it. 2 units on the Chargers. 2 units on the game to go under the 45.
Wow. That's interesting, Steve. Really interesting. This is the second leg of my 2-team teaser, but I'm kind of with you on the under. 45 seems a little high for these 2 teams. So I'll go 2 units on the under 45. Godwin's hamstring acting up again. 2 units under 45. That's a best bet.
The best bet.
Skipping Pittsburgh at Tennessee. That one is off the book. So, Ross, we'll move on to Baltimore. They are laying 12.5 points at the Washington football team.
You know, Steve, you might need to talk me out of this one. And no, I'm not thinking of betting Washington. I'm thinking of laying that many points. I think the Ravens, after what happened Monday night, I think they might come out and embarrass Washington. Washington will not have Chase Young with the groin. Matt Ioannidis is done with the torn bicep. I think they're going to get all after Haskins. I just don't think I've ever done that. 12.5. What do you think, Steve? Too much?
-13 on the road. Ross, that is an area code that not only do I not stop and park in front of, I won't even drive through it. No, thank you. I pass.
All right. You know what? I'm that mad at the Washington football team. I'm putting 1 unit on the Ravens. I have it at 12.5 here on the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. So I'll lay 1 unit, Ravens laying in the 12.5. I think they're going to destroy that football team.
Steve?
He said pass.
You passed. Okay, my bad. Okay, Steve, then we'll go to the Giants and the Rams, where the Giants are getting 13 and the total 47.5.
So, Ross, your anger for Washington is equaled by my anger for the New York Giants. So I would love to be laying the double digits here with the Rams. But, you know, what was obvious last week is that it was a bad spot for the Rams, second straight trip traveling east. What's not so obvious is it's, again, a bad spot this week. Now that they've had to go to the East Coast in weeks 2 and 3, some jet lag coming into week 4. I could see the Rams not quite having their legs for this game. And because of that, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'm passing this game. I'm not laying 13 points, but I'm not taking the Giants either after they just got destroyed by the Niners JV team. That was pathetic. The Rams are a good team. I watched a lot of that Bills game. Rams are good, and the Giants are pathetic. 13 points, too many, though. I have not looked yet, Steve, at the BetQL app or BetQL.com to see what their best bet algorithm says for this week, but it's always nice. It's especially nice for me on like NBA and Major League Baseball with the playoffs starting. But even for NFL, it's nice to kind of scan and just see if they strongly disagree with what I'm thinking on the NFL. So get the BetQL app on your phone or go to BetQL.com and enter code ROSS20 for 20% off your first payment. Again, BetQL app is money, BetQL.com.
Next game, Ross, it's the Patriots who are underdogs by 7 points. They're getting 7 at the Kansas City Chiefs, 53.5 our total.
So I initially saw it at 7.5, and I was liking the Patriots there. I don't like them quite as much at 7, especially after what we just saw from Patrick Mahomes. But I think Cam Newton's going to bounce back. I think the Patriots are going to run the rock. And Chiefs, Monday Night Football, coming back home. I just think the Chiefs might be a little bit lethargic. I'll put 1 unit on the Patriots getting the 7 points.
You know, I'm passing this game, but I have to wonder if the media is not a little biased against poor Cam Newton. So Ross just says he's looking for Cam to bounce back. What do you want from the guy after the kicking the Raiders' butt on the ground? But I tell you what, I don't want to go against Kansas City. I pass.
All right, Steve. Buffalo at the Las Vegas Raiders. Your Las Vegas Raiders. Buffalo getting 3 points, 52.5 the total.
Yeah, Buffalo, the favorite, laying the 3 points. And I think this is about the Raiders just not being 100% at wide receiver. Ruggs is injured. Edwards is injured. We saw that Waller was completely contained by New England, but he was on the injury report as well. And there hits a point where you've got a young team with that many injuries and with an elite defense. I still feel the Bills an elite defense. If the Raiders, who don't have a defense, don't have their weapons, they're going to have trouble staying in this game. I'm going to pass.
I'm passing the game as well. If anything, I'd probably lay the points with the Bills, but that was an emotional win for them. I don't like this game on the card.
Sunday Night Football, Ross has the Eagles at the 49ers, and I'm guessing if this was later in the season, this game would have been flexed out. But it's Sunday night this week, and Eagles are getting 7 points with a total of 45.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it either way. Usually when you leave the Eagles for dead, they come back and they perform well. But it's 3-game sample size. They're not playing well. The Niners, even with their backups, looked awesome. Nick Mullins is very competent if he goes again. I'm passing the game.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, the latest projections have them winning 6 games, 6.5 games, and they're a half game out of first place. So what a division. So many uncertainties with both of these teams and the injuries. I'm going to pass.
Last game, Steve, it's Monday Night Football, and the Atlanta Falcons getting 7 points at the Green Bay Packers, 58 the total.
You know, this is such a good teaser for Green Bay, undefeated at 7 down to 1. I think I have to tease Green Bay, and I need to find something to tease it with. And you know what? I think I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. So I'm going to do a 2-team teaser, 6 points. I'm going to take the Chiefs down to -1, and I'll go ahead and take Green Bay down to -1 as well, 2 units.
That's interesting. That's an interesting teaser. You could even tease down the Niners to -1 too. But like I said, the Eagles, just when you think that they're done, they always surprise you. I don't think they will this week, but maybe they will. I'm just going to pass this game as well. I don't have a bet for that one, unfortunately. And, yeah, this is a first for us. We got a couple games we can't bet on because of COVID, so it is what it is. I don't even know if those games will get played. We gave you the bets we have on the games that they have. Check out all the great stuff Steve does. Steve Fezzik. You can check him out on Twitter at Fezzik Sports. Again, I'm at Ross Tucker NFL, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I will be having some new press box boxed foods. Thursday night, Broncos Jets. I'll be doing that game for Westwood One. Saturday, Abilene Christian at Army. Any baseball or NBA finals bets, Steve?
You know, I would look towards the unders early in the playoffs, especially the game ones. You know, they had that funky man on second rule in extra innings, which blew up some unders, and they won't have that in the playoffs. So I would look towards unders in the first 2 days of baseball action. I think if you bet every under, you'll make money here on Tuesday and Wednesday.
That'll do it. That's the voice of Steve Fezzik. I'm Ross Tucker. Please check out my power rankings today and the fantasy feast tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, the Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and the College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.